Do you not find yourself wanting to hit yourself in the head with a piece of heavy mining equipment when you listen to some of these people talk about the excuses as the reasons why Gareth Southgate and his players should be given some form of pass? Do you not want to just run into a wall at 100 miles an hour when you listen to some of this rubbish? And then you listen to players coming out, like Raheem Sterling, saying he's done this and he's done that and he's matured as his players, as if they're not the people that have let everybody down. It's all about Southgate, is it? It's not about you lot on the pitch. I find it absolutely amazing how the players disassociate themselves from the content that they actually deliver. It all becomes about Southgate, not the poor players. It's the players that go on the bleeding pitch. We know it's the manager's job to get them galvanised and facing the right way, but it beggars belief how people just pave these little narratives and distance themselves from their own contribution.
I mean, you
anyway,
feel...
that's my rant over.
But you do feel you're right, and you do feel you have a case, Simon, every time you go in players. I mean, Keelan was sitting in here a few weeks ago saying, I was talking to some football players about you, Simon, the other day. I have to say that they're not happy with a lot of things you say. That doesn't bother you one bit, does it?
No, because it's not an agenda. It's calling out people. The football world is a very hypocritical, disingenuous, duplicitous world where people don't seem to be made accountable for what they do. Any other walk of life, you don't do something very well, you don't get a bag of excuses to explain why you haven't done it, and at the same time get a king's ransom which gets delivered to you in a Brinks Mac truck every week. So with that in mind, I think people should be more accountable. And if Martin wants to whine about how I am making people accountable and make it as if it's some agenda, he wants to do more research, because most of the players that played for me, with a few exceptions, will tell you that my motivation was to give them the best opportunity for them to do their jobs and then ask them to do it. And too much in football is you give somebody something and you do your bit, and then when it comes to them doing their bit, there's 50 reasons why they haven't done it. There is no excuse for the performances that group of players have put out in the European nations. You can run the argument that Danny Mills was running yesterday, they're second string players. They're international footballers playing for some of the biggest clubs in England and in Europe, and the performances that have been put out under the watch of that manager in front of paying fans that the team's on tour around the country, pretty rank, and it should be called out. And it shouldn't be people like Sam Allardyce sitting there going, well, it's a very difficult job for Gareth. If you're getting paid £5 million a year, it should be a difficult job. It shouldn't be a bleeding easy job, as you and me be doing it.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm with you on that. And if you're getting that kind of money, you shouldn't be presiding over a side that goes out, whether it's the UEFA Nations League or not, and loses 4-0 at home to Hungary.
The tragedy of it is that when you talk about money, people get to hide behind it and say, hey, you always make it about money. But the problem is that you want people to be worth these ridiculous inflated salaries, so you can't help but make it about money. You can't help but say, has anybody paused for a second and looked at this and gone, hold on just a moment. Are you guys for real? You get paid for... If you were a bad surgeon, you'd be called out for it and get paid a fraction of the money. But listen, anyway, that's my little diatribe.
I wouldn't like you to be my surgeon, especially when you put on that rubber glove.
I'd amputate your tongue. That's the first thing I'd do.
Yes, indeed. Well, that was a bit of a flying start, wasn't it? That's it from us today. Enjoy the rest of it.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.